and welcome to today's 9yrsTV for today's game between AFC Wimbledon and Lincoln. I'm joined on my left by Mr. Stuart Deacon. Stuart, thank you for joining us.
I'm here all week.
And on my right, Mr. Rob Boyce. Rob, again, regular panellist here. Thank you again for making the time.
I'm here just today.
Thankfully for us. So we've got a great show for you today on what's a very special day for the club. In a couple of minutes we'll have the team news delivered to you from Andy Parslow. We'll also have our regular away fan interview. We'll be joined by people celebrating the women in the game, which is a big day for the club's annual calendar today. We'll have Anna Teasdale joining us later on. We'll also have our roving reporter Tom Large, hopefully in and amongst the fans later on, getting a couple of clips and interviewing new fans all across the South Stand. Yeah, okay. And thank you for that, Stuart, for throwing me off. But yeah, so it's going to be a great show. But I think first of all, Stu, we'll start with you. Massive game for the Dons today.
Yeah, 10 cup finals to go, isn't it? So what we've got today, it's a tough game. It's a tough game. Obviously, beat 1-0, didn't we? Up amongst all the trees and stuff like that at Lincoln early in the season. And it was quite comfortable in the end, but they're a different team now, Lincoln. Done well in the window. It's a tough game. They're all going to be tough, but this is a tough game too.
Now, Robert, we are going into this game having already beaten Lincoln this season. How important do you think that is that when we are 16-17 without a win now? How important is it today that it's a team we know we can beat because we did beat them away from home earlier this year?
Today is definitely a winnable game. You know, we've had two hard fixtures of Wigan and Plymouth away. You know, back at Plough Lane, home to Lincoln. You know, we'll be aiming for the 3 points, but both teams have changed drastically since then. You know, they've got John Marquis in. Our form has changed since then. So I agree with Stuart, it's a tough game, you know. Now,
obviously, I think we'll have the team news for you in a little over a minute's time. But the big news today, I think, obviously, Sam Cosgrove missing out, as Robbo said yesterday. Zach Robinson being recalled from his loan at Hampton and Richmond Borough. Stu, how big a chance is it for Zach now, between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, Zach's had a real difficult time, hasn't he? Because he had loans at Woking and stuff like that. He sort of had loans, got injured. Hampton and Richmond, by all accounts, really liked him and stuff like that. I think the thing is Zach needs games, doesn't he? So there's no point in coming back from his loan spell and he doesn't play. So I'd expect him to have some heart today. But yeah, Zach's getting a bit older now, isn't he? So he needs games and he just hasn't had that. So hopefully he gets this opportunity.
And very briefly, Rob, Sam Cosgrove, big miss for us?
It's we're not blessed in the striker department at the moment, so I'm going to say yeah. But then at the same time, you know, as you said, Zach Robinson's been recalled. He scored a goal in his last game against Dulwich Hamlet, so hopefully he's got a bit of confidence there in front of goal. So yeah, I think it is a big miss.
So there you go. It's massive game for us. No Sam Cosgrove, Zach Robinson being recalled on loan. Earlier today, I spoke to Andy Parslow to get all of the team news ahead of today's big game. And we just went for 2 o'clock, and it's just gone 2 o'clock, so we can play that VT now. Joined now by AFC Wimbledon's restarts coach Andy Parslow. Andy, I believe you've got the team news for us.
Yes, so team today we're going Tans in goal. We're going to have Che Alexander, Ben Hennigan, Will Nightingale, Lee Brown as the back four. Alex Woodyard, Luke McCormick, Ayo Basal and Jack Rodoni playing in midfield. And then we've got Dapo Mabude and Zach Robinson starting up front for us.
So obviously I think the big news there, the main talking points, Ben Hennigan sort of coming back into the line. How big a relief is it to have him back into the team after a spell out?
It's a big boost. He's a big personality among the lads and adds a level of experience, level of quality at the back, which hopefully will allow us to be more solid and basically be the base for the team to move forward from.
And Zach Robinson starting up top after his being recalled on loan from Hampton and Richmond. How has he settled back into the group from his time out on loan?
Yeah, really well. He's an academy lad, so he knows how Robbo works, how Rob Tuvey, James and myself will work, and he's been great, trained really well yesterday. He obviously came on briefly against Oxford United back in January and did well, albeit the game was a little bit gone by then, but did really well and he's done well on loan, so great opportunity for him today.
And who are the finishers today?
Finishers, so we've got Nathan Broom, Paul Callambai, Paul Osu, Nesta Guinness-Walker, Ant Hartigan, Ethan Chislett and Terry Ablade.
Thank you, Andy Parslow. So there we go, big team news. Zach Robinson and Dapo Mabude both starting up top for the Dons. Stu, looking like it's going to be a front two. What's your reaction?
Well, it is. I think the thing is, we didn't have much choice, did we? So without Cosgrove, you can't be going one up because you could argue a Terry Blade and that can't play that role. So, hey, look, it's a 2 up front that a lot of fans have been after. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes in games or in seasons, you stumble across a working lineup. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you stumble across it because your hand is forced. So there's definitely a lot of pace up there. Zach comes in with no fear. Hey look, do you know what? It's a tough game, but the good thing about this is Lincoln haven't really been able to prep as well, because they'd have probably prepped for a 4-2-3-1, not for a 4-4-2. So it might catch Lincoln unawares.
Do you think that's going to be a big part then if we are catching Lincoln unawares? And how important do you think that will be, that change of shape? Maybe appeasing some fans who have been calling for a 2 up top.
Yeah, well, the lineup caught me off guard, so if we're catching Lincoln off guard, I didn't think we'd start off with a front 2 with Zach Robinson and Dapo both starting. So I did think we might go 2 up front, but I thought personally we might go 3-5-2 just because we've tried that in our last 2 games. But like I said, I'm looking forward to today, see what happens. It's a different front 2. Sal's played with Zach Robinson in the academy, and they've linked up quite well. So it's something different, and I feel like a lot of fans are crying out for change. So hopefully it might appease some fans today.
And Stu, the other neat news really there, the other bit that I'd really think we need to focus on, Mac are going to be sitting a bit deeper. Do you think that could add a bit more creativity when we have perhaps been lacking a bit in that deep line creativity when it was Marsh and Woody paired in the middle?
Yeah, Liverpool can play well, can't he? I think sometimes we do need a bit of creativity in there. I'm not saying that Woodyard can't do that, because he actually is very talented even when he's not sweeping things up. But I think Liverpool can play that role quite well, and the good thing is he can also bomb on and get into the box. So I think it's an interesting. We've tried it a few times. I think it's worked in bits and pieces. I think Liverpool has struggled recently to find a place in the game, but he's not alone in struggling. We're all struggling on that, aren't we? But do you know what? Again, like I say, you can stumble across things, and it's got a lot of pace. One thing you want to do is come out really early and go for them early, tempo-wise. They do score quite a lot of goals early doors, though, not to give you any bad thoughts, but I think go for them early.
Yeah, and I think obviously the other bit, centre-back, Will Nightingale fresh on the back of signing that brand new 3.5-year contract that the club have announced earlier this morning.
Yep.
Being partnered by Ben Hennigan returning from injury. Rob, how important is Ben going to be on the return?
I think Ben's massive for us. He's a threat from set pieces, and I think he's our best centre back at the club, to be honest with you. He's got that experience. He's a bit of a leader. I do feel like we've missed him the last couple of games, so I'm excited to see him back in the fold, and hopefully Will's feeling good on confidence and feeling good about himself after signing a new contract with us.
Now, one of the areas that has come under a bit of scrutiny for us so far this year is the finishers, perhaps not having the impact that we have seen in previous years, but having Anthony Hartigan, Ethan Chisler and Terry Adelaide all on the bench today. Drew, do you think they could have a key role to play today off the bench?
Well, yeah, and to be fair, we haven't really been doing finishers for loads of seasons, have we? So they were substitutes last year, George, and they probably will be substitutes this year, George. I will get in there because Nick will not be happy at all. By the way, Nick is stuck on a train. I don't know where the train's stuck, but he's stuck on a train. Substitutions could be important today. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a real difficult one. I wouldn't say we're down to bare bones, but we are mixing it around a little bit, aren't we? I think the good thing is that we've got Hennigan and Will Nightingale. Yep. Because I think as long as your base there is good, so let's not forget how important Woody is. Let's be honest with you, Woody. So that spine looks strong there, and then you can expand from there.
So that spine, do you think it is, Rob? Do you think that spine is now the strongest been probably since December, when we did start losing a couple of players and when we lost Ollie?
Yeah, I think obviously we've got all our experienced players back now. We're missing Woody. Obviously we brought Lee Brown in January. He looks like a right leader, especially after his interview on Tuesday night.
I was going to say, you've got to link in there.
You've got Ben Hennigan, and Will, who Will's 26 now. He's got a lot of caps underneath his belt. Ben Hennigan's obviously been captain elsewhere, and he's a leader. So I do think we've got our spine of the team back, and then obviously we've got our young players in Jack Madonia, Sal and Luke McCormack, who, and even Zach Robinson today, are all young and hungry and, got a lot of energy.
So just before we do move on to the last couple of games, Brownlie's interview after the game on Tuesday night against Plymouth, was that something he wanted to see, Stu, seeing that hunger, that energy, that passion from the camp?
Well, I'd rather it not have to come to that, but it obviously has, and Lee Brown was honest and said he's not used to losing. Pompey Pompey used to lose against us, didn't they? But he wasn't used to losing, and I think he's obviously seen something that he doesn't like, that losing mentality. There's obviously something that's rattled his cage.
Yep.
It was hilarious, to be honest with you, and I think the club did really well in allowing it to stay, because there were a few choice words in there, but I think they weren't just for effect. they meant
Yeah.
that. And I think we've all seen with Lee Brown. Do you know what I mean? He is a character. But you know, people like him, Ben Hennigan, Alex Woodyard, Will Nightingale, really now got to get the team. We can't accept performances that don't meet the standards that we've hit.
Yeah.
And if we're honest, at Plymouth, 20 minutes, and then we just seem to fall apart. We can't keep doing that.
I think that's what's rattled his cage is, you know, against Bolton and Plymouth. Once, you know, they went 2-0 up, it felt like game over. I remember getting back here at Plough Lane, Sheffield Wednesday went 2-0 up, and we brought it back to 2-0.
Yeah.
You know, there was a never say die attitude, and we had a lot more fight, and we always looked in the game. Last few away games, you know, confidence is low. I get that.
But you know what? I did not to plug my own interview, but I did an interview with Gabriel Sutton on the fans bet, I think it was, and he asked an interesting question. I said that early in the season we were gaining a point from places when we were being beaten.
Yep.
You know, if you look at Sheffield Wednesday, whereas now we're losing 2 points. So it's a different way of looking. You can, you know, sometimes you can gain a point, or sometimes you can lose 2 points. And it looks like since January we've lost 2 points.
Thrown away points.
And we're not as resilient, sorry, George. I was saying, if you look at the beginning of the season, we were really. You're right. You know, the 2-0 when you're 2-0 down, we were both like. However, there was games early in the season when we like this team don't give up.
No.
And we just need to. I don't know where it's gone. It doesn't just disappear.
I mean, even Bolton, we were, what was it, 3-1 down, and then fall back to 3-0, and then we looked like we could have went on to win it at the end.
Yeah, but Boulay got that touch, didn't he?
Yeah. Hopefully he has a better touch tonight.
So we've mentioned their dropping points from winning position, so we will now look. It's been a busy couple of weeks or so since our last game here at Plough Lane. We'll start obviously looking at that. I believe Spike, our director, is now able to play the highlights from that game. There we go.
In other words, Spike, hurry up.
Yes.
Spike.
So as you can see now, we're just about to play in those highlights.
Spike.
So now we're seeing, so obviously, Rob, this is the Doncaster game. So just as obviously that goes in, great header.
Yep, no, we got a fantastic start against Doncaster. You know, obviously we went 2-0 up, and I felt like this game we should have got all 3 points. As Stu said, you know, we've been chucking away 2 points, so I definitely would say this was a game where we have unfortunately thrown away 2 points. But fantastic header by Jack Redoni, something he's been working on this season and improving on. You know, he's more of a threat in the box. He's obviously taller and more stronger than he was in last few seasons. He's still a young lad.
And that's something that he's really been working hard on over the last sort of season or so, really, to improve that physical strength, to make him more of a threat in the penalty area and to use his natural height. Absolutely no foul on Ayub Basal in the build-up to this goal as well. Absolutely no contact there. Another great header, Macca this time.
Yeah, this one was a bit unsurprising. Macca getting on the end of header. It's not something I normally associate him with.
Yeah. Absolutely no foul there.
Yep.
So obviously that great ball in there from Brownie, Macca with the head in, and then just absolutely great finish from Macca.
Yep. No, like I said, got off to a fantastic start of this game, and Lee Brown's delivery has been fantastic this season. It's been a right threat from that left wing. Sam Cosgrove obviously on Tuesday night got a fantastic delivery and should have scored something similar to Macca there.
So then obviously now the tempo started to turn in. So, and then Doncaster starting to get their way back into it.
Yep. We were dominating this game for 60 minutes, and then we had, it felt like 5 minutes of madness where it felt like they had, 3 shots in 5 minutes and could have scored 3 goals. So that was obviously the first one there, and then, again, ball into the box, which we failed to deal with here.
Do you know what's mad about this is they get a run on us.
Yep.
There's no one blocking them off or anything, is it? It's literally, I find it too easy.
Yep.
Yeah, and that 5 minutes of madness, it's been a problem for us for so many times already this season, where we've done well for 80 minutes or so, and then just 5 or 10 minutes has really cost us. This is obviously the chance.
I was down in the corner for this, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah. I mean, there you can look at 3-on-1 break there. Absolutely incredible work from Brownie there to make that clearance off the line. Definitely a point saved, and then as with this chance right at the end, I've still got no idea how the keeper kept this out.
No.
If I'm being honest, the keeper should have had a chance. If I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, no, I think Will's got to be burying that from 6 yards out, diving header. I was already jumping up to ready celebrating the goal like the rest of the fans behind the goal there. So yeah.
And then obviously next game up was a difficult trip for the Dons as we travelled to Wigan at the DW Stadium last Saturday. Rob, what are your thoughts going into that game? It was a tough game.
Tough game, they're second in the league. I wasn't really expecting too much. I would have been happy with a draw here. Obviously we know we lost 1-0 and second half it felt like it was all us. We were trying to push for that goal, but Wigan are a decent side, so there's no shame in losing 1-0 here.
Great clearance there from PK. Definitely intended that, but I think Wigan was always one of those where we went there and it was, as a fan, we were almost going there with damn it limitations in mind, of just not wanting to have a repeat of what happened at the Reebok a couple of weeks before. So then this, obviously you can see the pressure from Wigan was building. It was always backs against the walls. Is that you expecting that, Rob?
Yeah, like I said, I would have been happy with a 0-0 or 1-0 draw here. I do feel like we could have got a 0-0 draw. I feel like on a different day Nick would have dealt with that a bit better and powered it wide, because that was the winning goal on the day. Or maybe even collection and call out.
Also, the only thing that frustrated me a little bit was that Sal showed him inside.
Yeah.
Whether that was because we were showing him outside quite a lot.
Yeah.
But once we showed him inside, it just opened up, didn't it?
Yeah, and obviously there was a shout for an offside in the build-up to that goal, which I couldn't let go without mentioning. But I think, and I think on another day maybe Nick does not, palm it back into his own 6-yard box, and because I said it on the group chat after the game that was a 0-0 game. We made one mistake and were punished. And you look at this, and that chance there from Maka, just Sam Cosgrove's not able to direct the shot at the end, but I thought we were unlucky not to get anything from Wigan.
No, like I said, it's just a goalkeeper mistake on our end, and like I said, another day we could have got a 0-0 here. Fantastic chance by Maka. All we could really do is hit the target, but it's funny when you're down the bottom how things just don't seem to go your way, or you just when you're low on confidence, you don't get that slice of luck, and it seems to be we're not getting that at the moment.
So is that something, Stu, you think we just need that little bit of a slice of luck?
Do you know what? The thing is, we're taking leads, aren't we? So it's not as if we're not scoring goals. We just need to somehow see a game out. And whether that is a bit of luck, where we don't concede goals that we have, we concede some really average goals. Obviously, we're coming up to Plymouth now, aren't we? But this is classic, isn't it? In terms of, Sam Cosgrove scores a header that we're going to see very early on. Yeah. And it's a different game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think, obviously, being at this game, we thought Sam was going to score. It was one of those things of you score, under the pressure, not winning in a long run.
It's a great ball by Brown.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding ball in there from Brown.
Rob, it's actually harder to do that.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but if he scores there, it's a completely different game, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, no, goals change games, don't they? Like I said, it's fantastic.
Coming out.
You love a cliche there.
That's the end of Rob Boyce.
True loves a cliche. But yeah, no, Sam Cosgrove's got to be scoring there.
Yeah.
But like I said, he is a miss today because he is obviously a physical presence. I know obviously some fans are disappointed he's not scored or got on the score sheet yet. But he's got to be scoring from there. But at least he's getting in the box and getting in the right areas.
And then obviously Plymouth started to come into the game a bit more, started to develop their own chances, and this is, just dancing inside again. Is that a common theme throughout our season so far, Stu?
Yeah, again, it feels like we weren't, defensively we were a bit all over the place, and you want to keep your two centre-halves in line, and it just felt we were a little bit disjointed on that. Plymouth are a good team though. I know we shouldn't say that to defend it, but they are a decent team, and they've beaten many teams. But I'm just thinking, did Lincoln beat Plymouth? Have I seen that?
I think we might have. I was just trying to think back actually.
We've just got a Lincoln patch joining us at the moment, and we'll go through that. I think I did see on the scores.
Yeah, so Rob, is that something then, obviously it's important we bear in mind the fact that it was away to Wigan who were fighting for the automatics, away to Plymouth who were fighting for the promotion playoffs. Is that something we have to bear in mind when reviewing the last couple of games?
Yeah, like I said, we've got a run of games coming up. Our next four, I would say, are more winnable games. The teams in amongst us. Plymouth were obviously top of the league at the start of the season and flying until they changed their manager or lost their manager. And Wigan are going to be up there, probably finish second place this season behind Rotherham, in my opinion. So, away games to them too. To be fair, I would have been happy if we got 2 draws and got 2 points. Or,
And then that chance right at the end for.
Cool. So I've kicked George out because we've got our away fan feature, and it's Jackie and Maria, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes.
I've actually remembered some names, which is actually really interesting. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks.
I know you've obviously been part of the Women's in the Game, isn't it, that we've got here today. How have you found it?
Really good. So hugely supportive of what Don's Trust is doing, and know a couple of the ladies here that kind of help sort things out. So that's great. But yes, to have a group of women from the community, it's their first game, is really exciting to help them see their excitement. See what they're going to see on the pitch.
Definitely. You've not fried them off too much, have you? About
No,
what?
we've taught them all the lingo.
First time to Plough Lane, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great little stadium.
Not bad, is it?
It's lovely.
I always say it's like a little posh council estate. We've got a ground, some of these places, but yeah, obviously last time you visited Plough Lane, obviously went behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You went out 2-1 winners, which probably doesn't count because no one was here. I'm joking.
Any excuse.
How's your season been? We've got some graphics that I'm good. It's the last 5.
I think we can say up and down. Is there?
We're inconsistent, let's face it. So we don't know which team is going to turn up today. Honestly. So we could be performing brilliantly, straight passing, all of that, with the goal in, or we could just be passing it side to side.
Has that been your problem this season? Because when we looked at the beginning of the season, we do a podcast, and I was actually looking at Lincoln going, they shouldn't be in trouble. They should be, because Michael Atherton, what he does, he recruits well.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the January window.
That made up for the summer. Yes.
Was it a bad summer then? Was that what? Because that's not like him, is it? But was it a bad summer recruitment?
We just couldn't get anybody. We couldn't get a striker. And that's like everybody I know. But yes, we kind of really missed that, and then injuries, of course, were a real problem.
Mark Rees has joined you.
Yes, he has. He's an
Very
interesting
addition.
player. Yeah.
A proven striker at this level.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we've seen some results on that. So that's great.
So last 5. Sorry, there's losses in
Please
there,
don't.
but
Well,
so last 5 lost at Ipswich. Win against Sheffield Wednesday, which is a really good win.
well, and it's been like that this season. So we've lost horribly against Gillingham. So frustrating. I think everybody was despondent after that. But then you come back with the Sheffield Wednesday result, and that's the inconsistency where we're at. And so
Was it the case that you were better than Sheffield Wednesday, or did they? Was Sheffield Wednesday when they come down here? We drew to all, Rob, didn't we?
Yep.
But Bannon literally controlled the midfield against us. And a player at this level. Mad. Was it? Did you have to play really well to beat Sheffield Wednesday?
We just hit our stride, and everything. The plan worked, and everybody, the machine, the players, the interaction all came together. That's what we should be doing consistently. And we just, for some reason, we can't.
So we've got spikes coming in. We've got the rewind spike of the previous performances. Spike's going to find it for us. So what we like to look at, what we like to do is look at what happened in the past. So that's head-to-head spike. This is why it's live. So rewind. Lincoln City, obviously 1-0 win.
Yep.
Were you at that game?
Yes.
We played. To be fair, we probably played as well as we have all season.
I think that was our best performance of the season, or one of. To be honest with you.
Dodgy penalty, to be fair.
Looking at it.
I can't remember. You know what? I can't remember it now. Back to October.
I think Spike's got it for us, so we
Has
can have a look at it with the game. So back to 2017
Yes.
at Kings Meadow. Apologies for the camera, because that's all we had. It's literally such a. Did you go to Kings Meadow at all?
No.
You don't want.
So I came to football really late in life.
Okay.
Found it through my new partner and my son wanting to watch, and we started going to see Lincoln, and it kind of just progressed from there. So for me, as a new fan, it's difficult to kind of learn the game.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is it? Because I suppose you're right. I've been going for 30 years, so.
You just absorb it, especially as a young child. You absorb it.
But Lincoln. One thing that we are definitely here is welcoming to new fans.
Yes.
Are Lincoln similar to that?
Lincoln are very similar. Like Maria, I've come into this. My husband's been a Spurs supporter.
Oh dear.
I know. Yeah. We have come across 2 or 3 others. But not many. So I've watched games with him via Match of the Day, but never been really into it. But came into Lincoln because we had an opportunity. Children had grown up. We needed something to do. It was great to go to a lot. I like watching live sport, and it was so welcoming that the first game I went, that was it. I was hooked.
And Lincoln are a proper old-fashioned
Yeah.
ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I have a bit of a joke about the trees behind the ground and stuff like that. But it's a proper, if I'm correct, isn't it the siren that when you have a
Oh,
corner?
yes.
I'm right next to the siren in the
Oh, is it?
stadium.
How do you feel about that?
Well, if it's appropriate, it's great, and we can do well. But we've not been brilliant at corners. Let's face it. So there's no argument to ditch the siren.
Do we know how that started? Obviously, I know you're reasoning
Well, it's
new.
because the dam busters and the air raid, so it's Lincolnshire is a big, obviously,
Right.
RAF
RAF
ties
town, so
Makes
that's
sense.
why our singing section is called 617 Squadron, because that was the dam buster squadron. So,
Makes
so
sense.
the siren just happened to happen, but it's
Just adds something, doesn't it? So this is a game that doesn't count. It was behind closed doors, so
yes, this is,
but,
this is where we played our best.
obviously COVID's affected us all in
Yes.
some ways. How do you find that in terms of obviously being new to the game but not being
I
able to
found
go to
it
any?
really difficult. Just in terms of the community that we've created
Yeah.
through our supporters group, it's hard to maintain that kind of contact and momentum and things. So
Yeah.
in some respects, we feel like we're starting again
Yep.
Yeah.
to some degree, but you just get on with it.
Definitely.
It felt like we were completely disengaged from the team because there were players that we'd signed and we had on loan that came in that we weren't able to
Kind of
actually
haven't met them.
physically
Yeah, no,
watch.
you're right. You're right.
So I had to have a team sheet with the photos and numbers on, so we knew who was playing and who we were talking about. So
Yeah.
that was
And that
hard.
emotional bond with the players, and I know players move on and all of that,
Of
I get
course.
that, but you do naturally kind of
Yeah.
get an affinity with some players, and you like that kind of. That
I agree,
interaction.
and we had players that I was lucky enough. I'd come to some games as part of the pre-match sort of build-up stuff, but to be fair, it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't really enjoyable. But we had players that we actually didn't even see play for us.
Well, just the same. George Dobson. Is
Yeah,
one
George
of them.
Dobson, who's now gone to Charlton. You
Yeah.
know, we took him from Sunderland. I'll tell you a funny story. Alex Woodyard, who's our captain, he joined, but he didn't know anybody. And I literally had a point. I was at the game, one of the games, and he waved up to me, and I felt like a little child again because he didn't know anybody. This is a dodgy penalty, by the way. I think dodgy pen.
Yeah, dodgy pen. But you know what? We're due another, aren't we? We've not had much luck recently, so I'll take another dodgy pen today. Am I right in thinking Lincoln are missing their first choice keeper today?
Sadly, yes,
Yep.
we are.
Look at Rob trying to get the positives.
I need to find something. You know, we're not on a good run ourselves, as you're probably aware. 17 league games without a win for us, so it needs to change at some point.
Today's important for both of us,
Yeah.
isn't it? And looking at the league and what we want to achieve. So
Yeah.
the gloves are off really, and hopefully our players are going to play for the shirt and really do
Definitely.
Michael Appleton proud.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we tend to look at a player we pick out. So what I looked at was in terms of Michael Appleton's recruitment is always very good. And like I say, January.
His contacts are amazing. and
West
he's-
Brom.
Yeah, absolutely.
West Brom, but this is
There's our Morgan, yeah.
this is one of the ones that I looked at. So
Okay.
we've gone on. So we've done very similar. We've gone for loans,
Yeah.
but they've been. Some have been good, some have been hit and miss, and that's what you get with that.
Yeah.
But I noticed, obviously, Morgan Whitaker coming in from Swansea. Impressive.
Yeah.
How's he been?
Well, he landed with a flying start, and so really well received by the fans.
Yeah.
Played off the pitch, and it was really exciting. We're kind of thinking, what we're going to see. And to be fair, it's been a bit of a damp squib in the last few games.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not on Cuffy
Oh.
from Arsenal. He's phenomenal. Watch him today because if he's on his mettle, he'll be really good to watch.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to get myself worried too much about loans. obviously, you know that we obviously 18 games, including the cup at Bournemouth. Realistically, you must be coming here expecting to do well and take the points. If we're
At
being
this
honest,
point in the,
I don't think we can.
there's no expectation at all.
you're making me feel a bit more confident. So that's good.
We cannot stroll in and think that we're going to get the points.
Yeah.
A lot of us would maybe be happy with the draw.
Yeah.
To
But
be
obviously,
honest.
as a supporter, yes, we
Yeah.
want to win, and I will be out there singing and
Yeah.
cheering and willing the team on to win.
Yeah.
But it's crucial at the moment. This is a crux game. This really is, and
Yeah.
both of us are going to be rooting and pulling for the same thing. So
Definitely.
who knows what will happen at the
We've got a league table spike, haven't we? I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we win today, then
Yeah.
we pull Lincoln back into it,
Yes.
And if you guys win,
Then we
you're
go,
breathing
yeah.
a sigh of relief.
Yeah, we are.
You got that
Yeah,
cushion.
literally,
yeah.
So it is
But,
a.
look at that table.
Yeah.
I mean,
try not
Gillingham
to.
have always historically ended up mid-table, haven't they?
Yeah.
And all the But suddenly they're down there.
And obviously Gillingham got a new manager,
Yeah.
so they
Well,
beat you, didn't they?
we were disappointed that Steve Evans still wasn't in charge.
Yes.
So
Oh,
we-
Steve Evans. Steve Evans is.
He's our pantomime villain. We love
I think
him.
he's everyone's pantomime villain, to be fair.
To be honest with you, I know a few people at the club, and they say that away from football, like when he comes in, he's a really nice guy. Chuck him out on the touchline, he just. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, that's his job, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's there. He's not there to be
I've
nice.
got the other pictures as
I was
well.
going to ask
spiking away.
how's Max Sanders getting on
Yeah.
with Lincoln, because he was on loan with us and looked quite impressive.
Fans like him.
Fans
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really
we've-
welcome him being on the
Same
pitch.
here.
Yeah.
We
And
like
he's made
him.
a few more appearances now, which is really good.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
happy
I'd like
see
to
him.
see him come on today actually, but
Yeah, we really enjoyed him. Again, one of the loans that sort of worked, and it wasn't a surprise when I saw that Michael Afton had gone for him after that on that sort of side.
Yeah.
So just quickly before we let you go, fixture-wise today, what we got? Acton Sandy, Charlton. George has put the camera right in front of the thing. Bless him. Morecambe, Cheltenham. Doesn't look too good, does it? So there's obviously a few games that are going to affect.
Be interesting to see what happens between Doncaster and Gillingham.
yes, be interesting to see what happens.
And
Sheffield
Doncaster-
Wednesday and Cambridge actually.
And
because
Doncaster and
Cambridge-
Gillingham beat you both, not to. But they
Yeah.
but they have beaten you both, haven't they? So
Yeah.
it's and Doncaster come down here, to be fair, and we were 2-0 up and flying, and they looked poor.
Yeah.
We conceded a goal, and all of a sudden we looked poor, and they were flying.
So same here. They
Yeah,
just
exactly.
kind of seem to be able to kind of whip it round, don't they?
Yeah.
And take the points.
When we played away just before Christmas at Doncaster, we were playing. I couldn't say that we were playing badly in the first half, but then it all went wrong. It's just,
And that's where I think what's happened this season is that sometimes the heads have dipped, they've lost their confidence,
Yeah.
not really sure about what they're doing.
Yeah. So we're gonna let you go. So today is a sellout. It's a sellout here,
fantastic.
which is nice. It's a good atmosphere in here when
I
we're
think
winning.
we've bought
Lots
about
of singing.
800.
Yeah, so
900,
obviously behind us we've got
900,
the away end behind us there. So it's the sun's out today as well.
I
which
know.
is
We brought
lovely,
it down
isn't
with us.
It's always
We thought,
welcome.
we're making sure the sun's in your goalkeeper's eyes.
Oh dear, so let's hope it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Before we let you-
Huge thanks to Wimbledon. Having a women at the game is brilliant.
Yeah.
The work with encouraging people to come and support live football, support their local club, really important.
Definitely, it's about embracing it.
Yeah.
We've got lots of families. I've got a young boy who comes sometimes, but I want him to be part of the
Yeah.
There is
thing.
room for all different kinds of supporting
Yeah.
your club.
Yeah.
From one end of the spectrum to the other, there's room for everybody. Isn't there?
Definitely.
And that's-
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So before you go, predictions. Be honest. We're used to it here.
I'd like to
Go for
I'd like
one or
to-
draw.
You go for 1-1. I'd like to say we're going to win 2-1.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. It's been great to speak to you.
No
Thanks for
problem at all.
welcoming us.
And I don't know what we're going to do next, Spike. I'm going to go probabilities. Cool. And I'll let you go back. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to come out because we've got the other people in. Cool.
Oh, where's Stuart? Rather than
Yes, hello. Sorry, remind me, what do I refer to as? Do I say Jaggy?
My name's Tiago. I guess it's up to you. I guess.
Tiago. Okay, hello everyone. If you're just tuning in, apologies, we all look a bit different from what you've just been watching. Welcome to 9yrsTV again. I'm Nick Draper. To my left, I'm joined by George Jones, and to my right, Tiago, or we might know him as Jaggy from the AFL YouTube channel based in the United States. Whereabouts exactly, Jaggy?
California, more specifically Orange County.
Orange County,
Yeah.
in California. Misha Barton, Rachel Bilson, that sort of thing? No, doesn't mean anything.
I'm not familiar.
No, okay, fair enough.
Didn't
Just me.
Liam Trotter play for Orange County for a couple of seasons?
Moving on. We're not going to talk about that now. Right, so you're over. So you've come over. You've obviously had the YouTube channel now. What commentator, showing our games live and reacting to them as live. Your reactions to them. How long have you been doing that now?
I've been doing that since last season. I think the very first time I did a video, let alone a live stream, was the 4-4 against Plymouth. Remember that one? Joe Pickett scored an absolute belter of a free kick, and then we were up 4-2.
Yeah.
That was. It was a great introduction for me to start my YouTube channel because that game was, oh my god. But I've been following AFC Wimbledon since the beginning of the 2018-29 season, Great Escape.
Right.
That's right around the time when I was playing FIFA. I followed them. I wasn't really familiar with their history, and then I followed them and. Found out about the story, fell in love with them, and then the West Ham game, the FA Cup game, that was the very first time I ever watched them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna fully commit to this team. I love this club, and
it gets you, doesn't it, when you sort of find a club and you sort of get involved, and it hooks you, doesn't it? And then you sort of become a little bit. But then obviously this is the first time, I guess, if that's 2018-19, clearly maybe you're looking at coming over before pandemic hits. Might delayed you a bit, so you've actually been over for a couple of games now. You've been over for about a week now. You were at Wigan last week?
No, I've been here since the 23rd actually. I went to a couple other games. I went to Fulham versus Peterborough. I went to Tottenham, Everton the other day.
Okay.
But yeah,
it was all about getting here, surely.
Yeah, no, the most excited I've been so far was the Doncaster game. The Wigan one was a bit of an anomaly, I guess, because people were telling me that the support was probably the worst. The away support in that game was the worst of the season. I kind of got a little unlucky there, but
it's one of those things. I think Wigan away as a ground. We've done it before. We're not playing particularly well. Not as many travelling up to it. I guess it makes sense.
Especially so soon after another long distance away game the week before, and the long distance away game the Tuesday after as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, absolutely. And I'm sure fans wanted to wait until the Plymouth one because that was a bit closer, and so.
Yeah, although Tuesday night in Plymouth, as George, I'm sure, will testify.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Not fun.
And it's not local.
No.
It's not American long distance, but for us, that's quite long distance. I know 4 hours for you isn't much, but for us, that's a long way.
That's a long way on Tuesday night. But no, great. So great to have you here. So thanks for joining.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to have a look. I think we just looked at the last games against Lincoln, but we can have another quick recap. Our head-to-head record with the Imps, as they are known, and. Not much to go on. Just it's sort of split it, haven't we? With Lincoln won here last season, as we just saw the goals from Plough Lane. So this is their fans' first visit to the stadium. Otherwise, there's not much to choose there. Not a lot going on. Lincoln's stadium, George, that I think we were all looking forward to going to visit, but pandemic and Tuesday nights have scuppered lots of us. But I'm looking forward to getting up there when we can. A few of these statistics then. No win for Wimbledon. I realised, George, it's 6 months yesterday since our last home Saturday league win. No win in 9 at Plough Lane, 17 in total in the league. But we haven't lost to anyone beneath us in the tables. That's always handy. Lincoln conceded 1 or more goals in their last 7 away games. So there's goals in this one. They also scored them. Now, the interesting thing for me, George, coming into this one is everyone's talking about our long winless run, but Lincoln are not in great form themselves. They had a good win last week against Sheffield Wednesday, but it's their only win in the last 6, and they lost to both Doncaster and Gillingham without scoring. So I think, as much as everyone's looking at us, I think it's not a bad time to be playing them either.
No, I think it's a good time to be playing them. We do need to find a win from somewhere, whether that's today, whether that's next week against Cheltenham. We do need to find a win in our next 4. Certainly, we don't want to be hitting that 20-game mark really. But you look at it, it's 2-2-1 over the 5 games we've played so far, so it is fairly even split between the two teams. That win away earlier in the season will give us confidence because we know we can beat them, and we were very good that night in Lincoln, and that'll give us a lot of confidence going into today.
Do you remember the back 4 against that game? Because I remember that game we looked solid defensively. I think Hennigan and Nightingale were the 2 center backs, and the outside backs. I think Nesta was one of them. I don't remember the other outside. But I think that was that right around the time when Osu was playing in the starting rotation?
Yeah, that was when Osu was starting to come back into the 11.
Okay. But I don't think Osu's playing today. It'll be Alexander.
No.
But regardless, I think who's starting at center backs today?
Ben and Will.
Had Ben and Will. Okay, I think that's pretty solid. I think they'll be able to. Well, I think one of the statistics was that Lincoln have scored in the first 15 minutes pretty frequently. So we got to make sure we typically start off strong, but then kind of fizzle out. So we got to make sure we start off strong in both the first and second half. And I think if we do that, we can nullify this team.
That's the view of Tiago from California and George from Ilford.
Yeah. Equally glamorous. Those California and East London equally glamorous.
They have Welsh heritage as well.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
East London, isn't that where Jack the Ripper used to?
Yeah.
I went there. It
Surprisingly, not the worst. Jack Ripper, not the worst thing about East London. But we're not going to get into that now. We're going to see what other fans think. And Tom Large has been around the stadium chatting to some of our fans, getting their thoughts ahead of today's game.
I'm joining the South Stand fan zone by
Rebecca.
So Rebecca, what's your score prediction for today?
I want to go for a 1-0 to Wales. So we need that win. I'll go with that. Yeah.
I'm back 100%. Who's your favourite player?
I've not been to many games recently, but my grandparents go and they really like Sam Cosgrove. Yeah.
And how long have you been a Dons fan for?
Well, like my life. My dad's a big Wimbledon fan, so when they were Wimbledon FC, we went to them, and my dad's followed it through. He's a founder, so from day dot, I followed it.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Rebecca there choosing her favourite player as Sam Cosgrove, who unfortunately is injured today and is not involved, nor is our winning goal scorer from the game at Sincil Bank earlier in the season that George just referenced, Aaron Presley, who is also injured. So today we go, we'll see how the front 5 players line up, but Zach Robinson seems to be the centre forward for us this afternoon. Recalled from his loan at Hampton and Richmond, George, 19 years of age. Talk about being thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, and it is something for Zach. I think everybody would like to have these young players blooded in games when we're safe mid-table, nothing much to play for, and then you can get League One minutes in a safe environment. But this is pretty much as deep water as you can possibly get. No win in 17. It's massive 6-pointer against another team in the bottom 7, and it's a massive challenge for Zach, but also incredible opportunity. Imagine if he goes out and gets a goal today and we get a win. What will that do for his confidence and his future career? It's a great opportunity for him.
Oh, 100%, massive opportunity for him. And also for Dapo Mavude, who also gets a start today, back in the starting 11 for the first time in quite a little while. So what have you made of Dapo's performances watching from abroad?
Well, Dapo, of course, he has the qualities of being a pretty good striker. He's got the pace and the confidence in the final third. Although I think he tends to be a little predictable sometimes. I think, he'll slow the play down and then he'll drive himself down the wing. But I think we'll need that kind of style today. It's a complete far cry from Sam Cosgrove's style of play, where he's a hold-up man. Maybe he doesn't drop back deep as frequently as someone like Ollie Palmer. Sometimes he'll try to hook out to the back post. But I think we need some pace today. That being said, Cosgrave, is he in the bench today?
No, he's out injured.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Cosgrave would have been perfect for a situation like this. But that being said, I think against a team like Lincoln, who are kind of in poor form right now, I think this is certainly Dapo's time to show why that he is a lone player from Watford. It's finally his time to show out. And then of course Zach Robinson being put in the deep waters. I think it could either be a dreadful decision for Robinson or a fantastic one. But I think at this stage of the season we need to change something up. And I think I'm going to look at it more positively today. I think both of them will have an opportunity to shine, and I think at least one of them will get a goal today.
Charlie makes a point there about the role that Ollie Palmer's playing, the role that Sam Cosgrove plays, back to goal strikers, holding the ball up, bringing others into play. We're not going to look for Zach to replicate that, are we?
No, I hope not, anyway.
Is there a shout that we could have gone and tried something completely different, like we have seen managers do in the past, perhaps moving a centre half like Callum Bay or someone like that forward? Would that have been a realistic option?
I think, as we've seen, you're getting into Stuart Pearce territory there, bunging David James up front for a couple of minutes at the end.
That was legendary, though. They lose 8-1 that day.
Yeah. Where it is just, when there is absolutely nothing else. That's the role of a manager who's on his, he's got nothing else. So bung a goalie or a centre half up top. We're not at that stage, and we never will be, I don't think. I think those days have gone from football.
Sadly, isn't it?
Having a different style of football, having the pace and energy adapts, and Zach up top, that will provide incredible speed. It'll improve the press going forward, because Lincoln didn't like the press at the away game, and that caused a bit of success. So
they gave it away several times. I remember that one. Yeah.
So having the runners in the channels, so rather than going long to a centre man to hold up and then bring in play, it will just be going over the top, having the runners in behind, and that's the way we've got to go about it. And that can bring success, because both Dapo and Zach have proven at various stages they are quite clinical.
Paul S says the Dons Oh, Paul with the apostrophe. Come on. The Dons have to start winning games. Draws are not good enough, especially at home. Well, this is a problem we've had all season, Tiago, which is 2 home league wins all season. Our other 2...
Those came in like the first 5 or 6 games or something.
Yeah, we had Oxford very early on, and then we had Crewe around November time.
About 10 games.
Yeah, so other 2 home wins we've had this season were against Cheltenham in the FA Cup and Guiseley? Guiseley in the FA Cup. God, blimey, Guiseley
didn't feel like a win.
Performed very, very well on that day, and deservedly got applauded off by the home fans. Clearly, whenever you're in a relegation battle, and we're not scared to say that word. Lee Brown's come out and said it. Said, if we don't pick up, we're going to get relegated. You rely on your home form, and Mark Robinson will say, don't disrespect the point. And we've picked up a number of draws at home this season, but just 2 wins at home all season. Surely that cannot be good enough for a team to stay in the division.
And I gotta say too, I try not to be overly optimistic, but I gotta say that it's a mixture of everything. The reason why we're in the position right now, yes, at times we've had poor performances, inconsistent performances, but also we've had games where we deserve the 3 points. Right, Sunderland, we actually outclassed them. But that was the game where Nesta got sent off, right? That was that was the double yellow card. Oh, okay, never mind. But we played pretty well in that one. I think the Gillingham one too, the first one at home, that was fairly unfortunate too.
Oh yes.
So I think it's a combination of both, like kind of bad luck as well as poor performances at times. But I think now is the time to really put a stamp on it and just get after it. And I know that's a very general thing to say, but I think today is the day where I think it's sort of judgment day today. Where if we don't win today, I think it's fairly bleak for the rest of the season because we have a tough schedule too.
We have some tough games coming up. Judgment Day, I think my favourite Judgment Day was Judgment Day 2000 with the Iron Man match between The Rock and Triple H. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm a huge WWE fan. Used to.
Should I step out and leave you two to have some time alone?
Yes, please. Rich Burville has messaged us. Frontline concerns me, but good to see 2 up front. So we talked about that, Rich. What we haven't spoken about, and I am conscious of time, we want to talk about women in the game today, but just a final note on that with the strikers and forwards is that Lincoln have good quality going forward. I think we just want to register that as much as we're looking at 2 up top as well. They will also go 2 up top. John Marcus is going to be up there. They've got, and Chris Maguire backing him up as well behind him. We've got to be wary of their threats.
Yeah, and those are 2 names that no club in League One ever wants to hear lining up for the opposition. In Marquez and Maguire, they are 2 of probably the most efficient League One forwards going around at the moment, certainly over the last couple of years as well. Yeah. And that's a real threat, and it's going to, Ben and Will are going to have their hands we're going to have their hands full today, and obviously Woody's going to have an important role sitting in front of them to make sure that those 2 don't get the service they might normally get.
And I think they have another player, Scully. I'm not sure if he's playing today.
I don't think he's actually starting lineup today.
Okay. He gave us a lot of problems last time out. I think there was one time where he received a short corner and we weren't prepared for that. He put it in. But yeah, he has a decent bit of pace. So him and I think McGrandles, the captain too, are missing today. So I think that's also a positive for us. Yeah. It's going to be a tough one to predict, but I'm going to say my heart says 1-0. But I don't think we're going to draw. I don't think we're going to lose today. I think it's going to be 1-1 or 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Well, we shall see. Today is away from the pitch. It is women at the game day, George, isn't it as well? So let's have a female corner. Let's talk about women at the game day, and let's get a quick update on the ladies who I believe are playing here tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so we'll start with the women's first team. Obviously, they're here tomorrow against Enfield, back in league action. Tickets are on sale for that game on the club website at the moment, but I think last weekend is the bit we really should talk about. We were in our first semi-final of the FA Women's National League play, a trip to Sporting Council. We've got the highlights lined up for you now.
Ooh,
and this really was an incredible moment for us as a club.
This is in Wolverhampton, right?
Yeah, this is just outside Wolverhampton, 2 o'clock kickoff. Now this is something that's, Ashley Hingsworth, the first header there, right at the start of the second half. This is something that's, we've been looking forward to, building for a long time. And it really is such an important day for our club that we can celebrate our women's team, having them playing here. It's our first national final since 1994, which is in a month or so time after winning this game. It really is an incredible moment.
There's a lot of yellow and blue, George.
Yeah, there's
a lot of yellow and blue everywhere.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying because their away kit is the reverse of their home kit.
And even their boards around the side.
Yeah, there was a lot of yellow and blue, and it was a bit difficult to keep track of it, I'll be brutally honest. But it's just one of those games where you can see the standard of football is obviously great amongst our team, and it's just so important that we can celebrate these players because they've made history for us and they'll carry it on for the game for the rest of the season, most of which are here at Plough Lane.
Just watching it's very entertaining to watch this back. Is that a 3D pitch they're on there?
Pardon?
Is that a 3D pitch?
Yeah, that's an artificial pitch.
Yeah, I thought it looks like. So who's this going to take the penalty
So
for
this
us?
is Ashley Hinks getting her second of the game.
Well, not saving that, are you? Just
No.
smashed it. Best way to take a penalty, that just put your foot through it.
Yeah.
Smash it, put the pace. No one's going to stop it. Who did that the other day in the cup final? Van Dijk?
Yeah, Van Dijk, just proper old school centre half penalty there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Nice ball that through.
Yeah. And then hat-trick for Ashley Hinks, 35 goals for her in 27 games. Absolutely incredible return, and it's something we should be, celebrating, a Wimbledon striker getting goals.
Stu, who did the graphics?
Me.
How do you spell hat-trick? Dear me.
I did
spell it
notice
wrong?
that, yes.
Oh, I blame the spell check on my iPad. Well, I'm not used to be fair, I'm not used to hat-tricks.
No, this is true.
So,
this is very true.
Yeah, we need to get you down to more women's games. We'd be seeing an awful lot more of them.
Do you know what, the ladies have done really well. It was a shame that obviously didn't get a clean sheet at the end, wasn't it, with the penalty? But how far? What's the furthest? I'm not trying to put in the spot here, George. What's the furthest we got previously in this competition?
Quarterfinals. So to get to the semi-finals, just even playing Sporting Castle was a big achievement for us to get to the semi-finals. Obviously we'd beaten Portsmouth, we'd beaten Norwich already in this competition.
Yeah.
So now to get to the final, playing Nottingham Forest, the final being held at Solihull Moors at 11 a.m. So that's
what's that all about?
Right.
So they're having a finals day. So they're having
okay.
a different finals
That
being
makes
held at
sense.
3:30, and we're at 11 o'clock.
Okay. It's like the old non-league days, or
yeah,
the
having that
trophies.
non-league final day, and it does, in a way, it'll make sense for the neutrals there. They'll have a great day, but for us, it's going to make it a very long day.
You'll be there. To be fair, George, you'll be there at about 8 o'clock.
Well, I'll be going there straight from Fleetwood the day before.
Yeah.
So I'll be camped outside the ground from about 9
He's got his
p.m.
breakfast already pre-ordered.
Yeah, I'll have a Macca's
Have
delivered
you heard about this,
outside.
Jaggy, by the way, that George is notorious for being at the game earlier than anybody else.
Like how long before?
George?
Tuesday?
About 4 hours before kickoff, normally longer, to be fair.
Even the women's games?
Yeah.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah. Or
I have to
insanity.
wake. I have to wake up at like 6:30 every Saturday morning. But I just grab my energy drink and I'm good. I don't normally drink energy drinks, but before the game I kind of need
for
it.
the
Yeah.
early starts. Just when you wake up, just in future when you wake up, just think of George staring at a turnstile.
You might have said already, whereabouts are you from in America?
Orange County.
Okay.
Isn't
that where Trotter went?
You've made the same joke. I made that joke. We can't keep repeating the same joke.
As you can see, viewers, Stuart Deakins has joined us, taken the seat that was previously occupied by Liam Trotter, and if you're thinking that seat was empty, well, I'm going to say nothing else. Yes, I do believe that's where he ended up at some point, yes. But,
OCFC, I think.
Yeah, Orange County Soccer.
Yeah.
Is that so? Do you have a team that do you follow a side in America?
LA Galaxy. I've been a fan of
okay.
them since I was 10. David Beckham played there for a few years. Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't been tempted to go to Vegas yet and go out to Miami's team? Is it Vegas or Miami? David Beckham owns?
Inter
it's
Miami.
Miami, yeah.
With Phil Neville, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually follow
big
the
names.
championship in League One a little bit more than I do the MLS. That might sound crazy to a lot of Americans, but
No, that's exciting.
that's just
mate.
how committed I am to the football league system.
Championship
over
is an
here.
exciting league.
It is, yeah. Anything can happen there.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen this afternoon, Stu. When I say anything could happen, can we win this afternoon?
Well, a game of football you can always win.
Well, yes, this is true.
But we haven't for the last 18, have we? It's a tough game. It's a tough game today.
Yes,
It's a tough game. I was chatting to the Lincoln fans that joined us, and they would have said Mark Lafton, who was notorious for being really good at recruiting, probably didn't get it right in the summer transfer window. But if you look at the signings he brought in, obviously Marquis and stuff like that, they've strengthened. I think when you look at it, we've definitely had weakened against teams strengthening. So I think it's a tough game. We've got to keep Marquis quiet, and we've got a new formation. We've got some new players in. So, but like I was saying, sorry, I just seen Tom arrived. Sometimes you fall on formations. You fall on. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes
just
your
comes
hands
up,
push in it, and sometimes you fall on it.
Yeah.
So look, let's hope so.
Let's hope that is today. Sean Tennyson's message saying, think Brown's speech will spur them on. So Lee Brown, very candid interview post-match after Plymouth. A few naughty words in there.
Naughty words.
Not Watford or anything like that, but
I mean, I appreciate the passion, though. That's something we need,
Yes, 100%. 100%, yeah. but as I said to George just a moment ago, Stu, the R word was he came out with it. So it's obviously it's in everyone's heads. How do you sort of? It's a difficult one to balance because on one hand you've got to think, right, we need results because we're in danger, as Lee Brown said, and we want to. But on the other hand as well, so you don't want to get. It's just adding pressure, isn't it? If you're always constantly having that thinking in the back of your mind, especially if you're thinking, he says he wants us to be brave. Are you thinking you're going to take a chance with something? If you think if it doesn't come off, you're going to get punished. All these sorts of things. It's a difficult one to balance, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the problem sometimes. There's a lot of pressure. We're sold out today, and there's people that really wanting to, want us to win. Do you know what the Lee Brown interview was interesting? Was the way he spoke in the third person when he said, "We're getting relegated. They're getting relegated."
Yeah.
It was not to detach him, but he was honest and said, "Look, he's not used to losing games. He's not used to being that." And I think the way he come out of it, I think he felt maybe some of the standards had dropped because you can lose a game. No one deserves to win every game, but when your standards drop, and we saw the Plymouth game, early chance, and then we could see the goal, and then we just went. We've done the same thing at Doncaster the other week. So there's obviously something that Lee Brown doesn't like, that mentality. Is it pressure? I think you called it out.
It's the youth, right? I mean, long-term outlook will be fine and all as long as we stay in League One, but League Two is just a completely different beast, right? But in regards to the mentality, I'm not going to talk about how League Two is, big man, whatever. It's going to be very difficult for our style of football, but the mentality, right? And that's one of the glaring issues with our youth process is that players like Asal, Radoni, etc., they're going to be, mentally put under pressure at times. And I like the signing of Lee Brown, but I think maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, we survive the season. We'll sign maybe one or two more veterans, and hopefully our loans will be a little bit better. But I think we just need a little bit of experience sprinkled into the side, no matter what. Even if it means prolonging the debt just a little bit further, I think it'll just be better for our long-term process if we sprinkle in a little bit of experience.
I like that. That sprinkle. Yeah. I can't disagree with that. No. And I think we've learned a lot of lessons. This is a new.
Yeah, Robbo's still learning as a manager too. I'm still Robbo in because he's a great guy, and also he wants the best for the club no matter what. He's still learning and growing.
Yeah, I agree.
100% agree with that. Talk about Lee Brown coming in. Experience Lee Brown, George, at some point would probably like to experience a win as a Wimbledon player, but who knows, maybe that's today. Paul Campbell was messaged to say, great to see interest coming from Orange County. It is in California for those asking. Yeah, Orange County, California, as well as from Galway City on the west coast of Ireland, where we understand that Paul is right now. And I guess Paul following on iFollow today, which you can do if you're abroad. You can watch this on iFollow, kick off at 3 o'clock. Commentary from Mikey T and Rob Cornell. Before we depart then, because it's getting on, it is Women of the Game Day. So if those of you at the game, or if you want to, if you can't make it, you can download your programmes digitally these days. Technology, I'm not a fan. Get a hard one ordered. You can have the physical copy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can read more about Women in the Game initiative in today's Matchday programme.
Also, an interview with our Women's General Manager, Sophia Axelson.
It's easy for you to say. Say again, General Manager.
Women's General Manager, Sophia Axelson.
Yes, Sophia, yes. That's in the programme as well, so check that out. You can get that on digitally. It's £3 if you're abroad. Before we wrap up then, George, today, scoreline prediction?
2-1 to the Dons.
Bold. Stu?
My head says it's going to be a tough one. I think a draw probably. But you never know, but they're decent.
And Telly said
1-0 Dons, Jack Radoni.
You're going for 1-0. I will go for a 3-1 win for Wimbledon, because why not? Who knows?
I feel bad now. I'm the one that said I don't think we're going to win.
Well, keep that negativity on that side.
I am positive. I'm just an honest person.
Cynical Stu. There we go. Right, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. Whilst other clubs' assets have been frozen, it seems like we've got a freeze on winning football matches. Hopefully that comes to an end today. We shall see. Join us afterwards for all the reaction from AFC Wimbledon versus Lincoln City.
Come on, you Dons!
Come on, you Dons!